Hi guys, welcome to the Higher Way podcast. Today online, I've got an old pal of mine. I think I can call him a pal.
Yes.
Simon Bligh, comedian and karate man. Welcome aboard.
Us.
How are you doing, Si? Us, yes.
Us.
Us. Us.
I'm good, Bob. It's really nice to see you. Really, really good. I'm happy to talk to you about martial arts and Buddhism and anything you want.
Anything you want. Yeah, I think the last time we met, we were sitting outside the Midland Arts Centre. Sounds very arty, doesn't it?
Yes.
We haven't seen each other. We haven't seen each other for years. And you had a gig, I think, at the Glee Club, maybe something like that. Yeah. Clang, drop that name. And we hooked up, and well, I thought it was a great afternoon. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Me too.
You know, and we talked about literally life, the universe, and everything else. So I guess. I mean, let's go back to the beginning, right? Because I first met you doing I'm blowing smoke up your ass here, but a hilariously funny act. And I can't remember where it was, somewhere in London.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There was that many gigs in those days.
Banana Cabaret, mate.
Say again.
Banana Cabaret.
Oh, Banana, Balham, and the Bedford. The Bedford.
Yeah, because I remember, because that's when we talked about martial arts in some way.
Yeah.
Mainly because you had a katana on stage. I think
that's what it was. That could have been what it was. Yeah. And then we realized that it was more than just comedy. We were kindred spirits in the world of the martial arts. And of course you still do Shotokan, and that was it was my second. I started in Wado and then moved into Shotokan, but this is not about me. This is about you. So That's how we met. That's where the common interests lay, which was Shotokan Karate. So let's go back to when you were, I know it's a long time and you may not remember this, but when you were young and you started off, I guess, let's start with your interest in martial arts and karate. What happened there?
It's totally clear as day. It's like an epiphany.
Right.
So I'll tell you the story. I used to be in the Scouts. The Scouts used to be, I can't remember what day it was a Tuesday. But it was a day when this program on the telly was called Kung Fu was on.
Oh, I remember Kung Fu.
I've never seen this thing called Kung Fu. And everyone said, oh, you got to watch Kung Fu, it's great. And then one day I was ill, I had a cold, so I didn't go to the Scouts. And I sat down and I watched Kung Fu. Da, 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 da. From the very moment it came on, my jaw dropped a bit, and something within me, it was like, wow, I absolutely loved it. And then, I love Kwai Chan Kane. I was from Liverpool, quite a free-schooled inner kid, living on my no brothers and sisters, a bit lonely, a bit very weedy, and I just resonated with me completely, and I became obsessed with Kung Fu. And Kwai Chan Kane looked a bit like me. He was scruffy, he was skinny. But then I very, very rememberly, the whole philosophy was, you say people, I don't want any trouble. I'm a man of peace. And there was always cod sort of, mystic philosophy, which I loved. Right. Always expect the unexpected or whatever.
Yeah. Do you know that we're gonna get Bruce Lee to do that part?
Yes, I do.
I know, but I think actually Carradine was a better choice.
Yes, exactly, because Carradine was a hippie.
Yeah.
But then, and the turning point, and the most thing that did it for me, was this guy came to have a fight with him, and he kicked him in the head. And I thought, how can you do that? It never crossed my mind you could do that. And instantly I liked the idea of kicking people in the head, and I liked the idea of being a man of peace who no one messed with.
And I still kick him in the head if he needs it.
Yeah. So that was the first wave that happened. And then there was a clip on ITV World of Sport with Dickie Davis.
Oh, right.
Again, I can see, it's still in my mind. No YouTube, but the YouTube's in my head. And it was a clip for Way of the Dragon. And it was probably no more than 40 seconds. Bruce Lee came on, he did a sidekick to the camera. Oh. And there was 10 seconds of fight with Chuck Norris, spinning hook kick or something. And I literally, that was it then. That was it. And then this thing called So I bought anything I could find about Kung Fu I did.
Yeah.
The son of the Kung Fu wall chart, I bought that, put it on the wall. And I bought Bruce Tegner's book of Kung Fu, which I've got upstairs.
Yeah, yeah.
Bruce Tegner was like a US Marine combat instructor.
Yeah, I've got his karate book.
Yeah, but they're all the same. He's normally got a judo suit on.
Yeah,
doing
that's
sort of,
right.
He's
Yeah.
normally got a judo suit on, and I think he was very good at judo, and he was probably very good at breaking your neck in a real fight.
Yeah.
And the Kung Fu book, he put a Kung Fu suit on with boxing boots, but essentially did judo. But anyway, that was fun. And then, and I've still got it upstairs, Kung Fu Monthly came out, Bruce Lee.
Oh yeah, Kung Fu Monthly.
And I've still got it. Issue 1, number 1, and every month it came out, these went on my wall. So then my mission was to learn Kung Fu.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to do. So there was an advert in the Liverpool Echo of all things, Kung Fu class, pack my Kung Fu. And you have to go to the Adelphi Hotel. This is 1974.
Right, okay.
To go to the Adelphi Hotel for an interview. When we get there, there's a big queue. We get to the door, and it was 30 quid to join. And like in 1974, that's about 200 quid, I think.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
And it was £1 a class. And my dad said, he said, you're not doing Kung Fu, you'll find a karate club.
Oh, right.
I went with my dad, by the way,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
then,
yeah.
there was a karate club in St. Agnes's Church Hall. Now, I didn't want to do karate because that was, Bruce Lee did Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Black suits. Karate
Yeah,
did
of
white
course,
suits.
yeah.
And, Kung Fu was better than karate. And, Chuck Norris did karate, got beat. But I went there, and that was £5 to join, which is still a lot of money, and 75p a lesson. But I walked in there, and the teacher was called Leo Ariti. His real name was Len from the Red Triangle. Everyone called him Leo.
Right.
And he looked like Jim Kelly. So it was like, he had a big afro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I went to do that. I went on my own. My dad didn't come with me. I had to save up the £5 and I went there. And he goes, how old are you, son? And I said, I'm 13. He goes, come back when you're 14.
Oh, no.
So it was like but it was good in a way. It was like everything I wanted. It was like those stories of sitting outside the temple before you could get in.
Yeah.
So I spent that and that was my birthday was in May, and this was like in March, so it wasn't too bad. And I spent a lot of time. I had a bull worker. I used to do bull worker.
Oh yeah, the bull worker. Do you know, I've still got one of them in the shed.
Oh, yeah. I gave one. But anyway, so this is what I was doing there, and then I'd run around Sefton Park. I had Bruce Lee's Taoji Kundo by then.
Ah, okay, yeah.
So, and I just copied these exercises, really good. And I ran because Bruce Lee ran. And then I turned up for my first karate class, and it was packed. Pictures of Mickey Mouse on the wall, I remember it. Sand, it was like nursery in the day.
Oh, right.
Absolutely jam-packed. And all we did like an hour of downward block, like really fast. And then we had to stand in Kibadachi horse stance. And you get punched in the stomach. And then we did sit-ups, and people would run over your stomach.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was the hardest thing I've ever done. It was 2 hours long and all, no break.
Yeah.
And I hated it. Absolutely hated it.
Right.
So I went home, and then the next week I didn't go. And and then I thought, then I was mortified. And that's my whole life I've spent really feeling bad I didn't go. The whole training thing.
Yeah, yeah.
That whole feeling. Most of my life has been a battle to go. And then I went to the next one, and then I never missed.
Yeah.
It literally so long. I've talked for a long time. So that was it. It was a transformative experience.
Yeah. Well, it does take over your life. I think once you commit to it.
Yeah. It made me. It's a sense of the other. So seeing, say if Kung Fu would have come from the Isle of Man. Yeah. And it wouldn't have been interesting.
Absolutely agree with you.
But you know what I mean? I'm just trying to say, because it was the mystic. Or say, if, probably I would have been better fan in a boxing club. You know what I mean? It would have been very easy. It took myself up. There's a judo club. Everyone knew what the judo club was. I've gone there years ago. But because it was fighting plus everything else, which I still love.
The mystique, isn't it? It's the philosophy behind it. Because when you look at European martial arts, as good as they are, and I'm only recently been getting into them, they didn't appear to have any sort of philosophy behind them.
No, they were just fighting.
They were just fighting. Yeah, it was just fighting. Yeah, there's no fancy uniforms or and you didn't have these, and all the bowing and the language, the language as well. Gedan Barai Agiyuki. I remember learning all the Japanese. That's what I did. You just know. That's the only Japanese I speak.
Yeah, no, it was just a magical. So it just took me away from being an unhappy 14-year-old weedy kid in Liverpool,
Uh-huh.
being part of this literally magical world.
Yeah.
And like, and then like stretching. No one ever stretched in the 70s.
No.
So suddenly, I mean, I could do the full splits in the end, but mainly because people pulled my legs apart and pushed me down.
Yeah, I tell students about how we used to stretch back in the day, and they're horrified, and they sort of say, "Well, that's."
I pulled my right hamstrings. My left leg's better than my right now from four splits.
You've damaged it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so anyway, so that was the beginning of this massive love affair. So it was more than just joining no disrespect to a boxing club, but it was joining this whole other world.
Yeah.
And that's what put me into it, and that's why, I'm still doing it, really.
And that was in Liverpool, right?
That was 1974, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, a bit like, I did karate, but I never thought of myself as a karate person. I just thought of myself as someone who now I'd say martial artist, but, a kung fu guy.
Yeah.
So, I've still got millions of books. I bought, Wing Chun I wanted to do, obviously. So I taught myself Sulung Tao in the backyard.
Yeah.
And I got Robert W. Smith's books on Tai Chi and stuff. Yeah. And I used to, before I did karate, I played football. I was an only child. So I spent a lot of time on my own with no brothers and sisters. So I used to play football in the backyard, kicking the ball against the wall, for hours and hours and hours, like we all did. But instead of doing that, I'd learn Wing Chun from a book. Or I'd go for a run, or I'd do press up. So in my mind, I was trying to do Jeet Kune Do, which didn't exist in that day.
Yeah, of course it didn't. No, but it's funny because listening to you, and I mean this podcast got nothing to do about me, but it's like I started earlier than you, but it's that same route. It was actually a friend who got me into it. But then when I know exactly what you're talking about with the David Carradine thing and the Bruce Lee thing, because I was already in a karate club. And it got packed out with people who wanted to do kung fu. But my first teacher was teaching Wado-ryu karate, and he hated kung fu. He was a bloody crazy Geordie crane driver by day, hard as nails, proper old school karate guy. And listening to you, I remember all the people coming in. I loved kung fu. Don't get me wrong. The only thing I hated about it was it brought all of these people into my club where I wanted to have space to train.
It made people very rich.
Oh, well, my karate instructor couldn't stand it. He was a funny guy because he had a job. What he did was he made it so hard that people didn't come back.
Oh, well, my club, the first club with Leo, when I joined, after 2 years, there were only 2 of us left.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the attrition rate was incredible. And I think you're probably, if you look at your generation of karate guys, you're probably one of the few people that's still around. I mean, I mean, I talk to people who I trained with back in the day, and they give it up years ago.
Yeah, that's my victory. My victory is all
that's
No, we had a reunion a while ago at Marshall Street. My Enoeda Dojo I've trained later on. And when it was great to see everyone, but when they all said, "You're still doing it, aren't you?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I am."
Yeah, well, I saw a friend of mine up in the northeast last year, and I hadn't seen him for years. And you laugh at this, but I've got to share this with you because you mentioned kung fu. They actually used to call me kung fu in the shipyards when I served my time.
Excellent, yeah.
Which they thought was like a slur, but I thought it was wicked. I was 16. I was 16, and they went, "Oh, you do that kung fu stuff, don't you?" And I go, "Well, no, it's karate, actually, And I trained with Danny Shiganis, the crane driver from the other shipyard. And he goes,
crane driver.
Honestly, so I'm walking down the town in South Shields, right? And this lad, I hear this voice go, "Hey, Kung Fu." And I'd never heard that name for like 30, 40 years, And I looked at that, and all the memories flooded back at the shipyards. And it was this guy, Les Smith. And I went, "Les, how you doing?" And I looked at him. I knew it was him, but it didn't look like him because he was fat, he was old, he looked battered, sort of typical, what he's just hasn't done anything with his life. Yeah. And I said, "Bloody hell, how are you, Les?" And he goes, "You all right? What are you doing now?" And I said, "Oh, I'm teaching Thai, blah, blah, blah. You still doing that Kung Fu stuff?" I went, "Yeah." He goes, "You're mad, you." I was looking at him and going, "Really?" It's given me everything, to be honest. having
they're
this
jealous.
having this attitude, and I know it's sort of the same for you. I think this is why I'm sort of what I'm coming around to. It
Well, I
does
mean,
give you a different attitude to life, doesn't it?
yeah, just two more things to say. One thing is that, if I actually would have found proper kung fu, I probably wouldn't have liked it either.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're
Because
probably right.
in terms of 1970s Liverpool, the people teaching kung fu were probably just guys who'd done a bit of kung fu somewhere along the line. They were all either Chinese guys or like they were sort of a lot of jiu-jitsu guys suddenly started wearing black suits.
Yeah, yeah.
They did sort of, jiu-jitsu kung fu. So there was
Well,
very little authentic kung fu. There
yeah.
was
I think
Jimmy Chen who did Hungar. He was the only authentic guy in Liverpool I knew of.
yeah, I know that the Chinese community in Newcastle wouldn't
Yeah.
teach, wouldn't
Well,
teach.
yeah, that's it.
They wouldn't
Yeah,
teach. They wouldn't
yeah.
teach it. So you would never get authentic because it was kept to them. So the triad sort of thing controlled it to
I
a
hung
certain
around
extent.
Chinatown. I used to walk around Chinatown in Liverpool,
Yeah,
dreaming of being. I mean, I was 40.
yeah.
Just dreaming of being in Hong Kong and looking in alleys trying to find a secret kung fu club.
I still do that. I still do that. I still do it. I'm looking for some ancient mystic, that's hidden away somewhere,
I think the other thing though, which I got around that time was an interest in sort of, I was brought up Catholic, very
Yeah,
strict, which I didn't like, hated it. I found it very
yeah.
hard, and that I got interested in like Eastern philosophy and Buddhism, and that was the beginning of that as well. That was a sort of this glimpse into the other,
Mm.
which stayed with me, and yeah, which was which I don't know, which is what I'm very grateful for as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know that my first thing was we used to do moxo at the end of the session every time, but he never explained it to me. He said, "Oh, just sit and breathe and concentrate on your breath in Caesar."
Yeah.
So you just sit there, and of course your mind would wander. And then
Yeah.
just by chance, a school teacher said to me, she said, "Oh, you do karate, don't you?" And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "What's it like?" I'm thinking about getting my son to join. And I said, "Oh, it's really good, blah, 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 blah." And we do this thing at the end where we meditate and that. And she went, "Oh, are you interested in Buddhism?" And I said, "Well, I've heard of it, like, Zen, like, Zen Buddhism. I've heard of it." And she said, "Oh, I'll give you some books." And she gave me some, and yeah, an RE teacher, strangely enough. And
Really?
then I went to a Zen group. Anyway, that's my story. I want to know about yours, really. But
Well, okay, well, similar, but then I think where we're going now is this transformative effect of training.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, what again? I wanted to be Bruce Lee,
yeah,
in a skinny, a skinny kid version of him. But I see the first time I stood, again, I love football. I played football every day. I was in 2 school teams. I was a goalie. I was a good goalie, and I sort of transferred that passion onto kung fu or martial karate, let's say.
yeah,
And the first thing in life I really wanted to be good at, and like I practiced on my own. And it's like even now I talk to people, and I took it seriously. So like I ran every day, I
mm,
trained every day. I went 3 times a week. Thursday was 4 hours training,
yeah.
and then I found a club on a Saturday, so I did Goju Ryu on Saturday at the YMCA.
Oh, did you do Goju as well?
Yeah, I do Goju on and off. I still love. I'll talk about that later, but I literally like, I'm evangelical about training.
Yeah, yeah,
My thing is, I'm sort of very strict on this. You're Karate Do. I practice Karate Do, and you need to. This sounds, without being pompous, you need to be karate.
yeah. No, I mean,
In,
Funakoshi
in your bones. Yeah,
yeah, Funakoshi Gishin was all about built character, wasn't it?
yeah,
Do you remember
yeah. I mean,
Karate Do Kyohan when
yeah,
that came out? Yeah, I've still got my copy on the bookshelf.
I mean, yeah. Oh, the difference is, you got your. I'm going to get mine. Yeah, yeah, that's the one I've got.
Still in the cardboard. Still in.
Yeah, yeah. But and then also what I loved about Shotokan, which is was it was the most literature styles.
Yeah,
They've got the most books.
yeah,
So, I mean, Karate Do Kyohan has a story there. I got that from a Christmas present, 1975.
yeah.
I used to go to Smith's in Liverpool, and I used to look at it. Maybe there was 2 books in there. There was What is Karate by
Ah,
Oyama.
yeah.
Now as well. and that one, and they were about 11 quid.
Oh, you're a lot of money.
Quid. And I used to go, and every Saturday I used to like to look at him, and then I wanted the Oyama one because he had the best pictures.
Oh, that was filled with amazing pictures,
Still
wasn't
got
it?
it. Yeah, still got it. It's one of my favourite books. But then I've got it. I've got the 1975 edition upstairs. And then I had a karate bookshelf there. So I used to get Fighting Arts. That was a big thing. So I went from
big, great magazine.
To Karate and Oriental Arts, which was always, remember that one?
No, a bit of paper. It was just paper cover.
Yeah,
when it first came out, it was just a paper cover.
That would have something like acupuncture, Peking opera, White Crane Kung Fu, British Karate Championships in it.
Yeah, that's it.
I went to school in Everton, and there was like a seedy sort of adult shop in Everton.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
And I used to go in there, and I got a magazine called Black Belt.
Black Belt magazine.
Illustrated from America.
We had, this is bizarre, because we had a shop in the South Shields, which was a seedy, dodgy bookshop.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I used to go in, there used to be Men in Max,
That's right.
And then I'd go in and get Black Belt magazine, and like, oh, yeah. That's weird, that is. And I felt like it should have been, I'm glad he didn't put it in a brown paper bag, you know what I mean? Yeah. I used to walk out with this sort of carrying it going Black Belt, like,
Well, there's another story to this as well, because I didn't tell anyone I did karate either. And for younger people watching, so there was no YouTube. There was no, everything was like, so, sometimes the limitations made it better.
Yeah.
So, Way of the Dragon, I went to see The Way of the Dragon with my dad. It was an X certificate. I was 50. But we got in, we all got in. I saw that and I couldn't speak. Literally, I was overwhelmed by how nunchuckers for the first time.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Which I promptly made. But it was like underground. So I didn't tell anyone I did karate.
No.
It was like my little secret. The story for this is after about a year and a half, some lads from our school looked through the window and they saw me with like a green belt on or something.
Oh, right, okay.
And then the rumour came around that Bligh does karate. Which is quite well, it's good. And then because I was always bullied at school, a bit.
Yeah, so was I.
And then one day someone said, "Hey, Bligh, do you do karate?" And I went, "Ha! I might do." Then my standing in the world stuck up.
Yeah, it does go up, doesn't it?
Yeah. I had a bit of a scuffle with the school bully, which changed my life. Completely. Yeah. Again, because karate in them days was ridiculously physically very hard. And I found myself being very weedy but very fit. Yeah. And it was fighting men. So suddenly you're fighting men, and suddenly like the school bully who's like, the same age as you, is like not bothered about it.
Exactly, they're nothing.
Changed my life. So suddenly, hit him once and that was it. And suddenly my life at school changed and everything. There's another transformative effect.
Yeah. Exactly. My sort of younger life sort of mirrors that, really, what you're saying. And you try to explain this to people now, because I don't know whether I'm generalizing here, but, we've got access to all this information now, the internet, YouTube, Facebook, all of that. And you would hope that people would be more critical of rubbish, if you like. But actually, the standards of karate appear, and other martial arts as well, appear to have been diluted to some extent, because, and I'll say this because I noticed a picture, because I sort of troll your Facebook page now. Because I'm a friend of yours, and I see some of the pictures of your courses, like you're doing, right? Yeah. And you're standing there dripping wet with a soggy gi on, right? Yeah, having just taught, but wait for this, having taught a seminar. You've been teaching, right? But you've still been training, obviously. And you're dripping wet through. Then I won't say which other people I look at. And I look at their karate page and go, shit, that gi looks like it's just come out of the packet.
Yeah.
And I've seen this happen at Birmingham University. We had a really good KUGB guy who used to teach there, who, when I first went to Birmingham, knew me from the karate circuit, knew that I was now doing Thai. So we had a connection. We're doing different things, but we're from the same family, sort of thing. And the class was small and hard as nails. Yeah. He had to
I would never criticize the KGB. I grew up with them. I was with them until Enoeda Sensei died.
The KGB Well, they
They're
were the
all
ones who led the way. They
Yeah, they
led
can
the
all
way,
fight.
didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, they can all fight.
And his class was hard and solid, but he left for health reasons. He was getting a bit older. I think he had arthritis, and he vanished off the scene. And another Shotokan organization, I won't say, came in,
Yeah.
and it was awful. I was like,
Mm.
that's not Shotokan. I mean, their blocks were weak, and and that's happened in all martial arts, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things. I mean, I still say, I've got a lot of technical critiques of KGB karate. Not
Right.
least, I don't think it's like their way or the highway, and their way.
Yeah, they were very intractable like that, weren't they?
But that's fine because I just think maybe hit the nail on the head that when you get a bit older, it's not the best type of karate to do.
No.
Like Kyokushinkai, Kyokushinkai is crazy thing to do when you're old.
Yeah.
But I think people like you and me, if I started karate at 14 in that situation where I was like now, I'd do MMA.
Would you?
I think so. Yeah, because I wanted. Well, I think I do MMA. I think I'm just trying to think because it's got some mystique about it. I would have seen it online, wouldn't I? And I wanted to learn how to fight, so I probably would have done MMA.
Yeah. You know
Well,
what my
5 minutes.
yeah.
I probably would. I mean, I wouldn't have walked into your standard karate club. That wasn't what I was looking for when I started.
Yeah. So I mean, it is transformative, isn't it? I mean, whatever martial art you do,
it should be. It should be.
It should be.
And that's why people like you and me. I always struggle with people who talk about it, and who actually. It's like I like dance. I've been looking at modern dance and ballet a lot recently, and ballet dancers are incredible. But if you look at a ballet dancer, they look like a ballet dancer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a friend of mine's a serious cyclist, and he's my age, dead fit, amateur cyclist.
Yeah.
And he'll like every like Sunday he'll do like 80 to 90 miles, 100 miles.
Yeah.
And you look at him, and he's like a serious cyclist. And karate martial arts sometimes gone more like Sunday league football, I think.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Football, they'll have a pint. They won't train. They'll have a good game of football and have a laugh, and that's brilliant. But in my experience, people like say cyclists. All the cyclists I know in proper cycling clubs, they're all much more serious than. So there's lots of casual martial artists now, or casual people.
Well, you've got these. Yeah, you've got it's a prevalence of like the McDojos, isn't it? Where you've got people who have got to a certain level and then they decide to open a club and leave whatever association we're with and form their own group. So the thing's becoming very much about.
I understand that. The thing is, if you have to make a living out of teaching martial arts, God, that's a hard living. Look at this crisis.
Tell me about it.
So I'm loath to criticize people doing that because I was a professional comedian for 30 years. You've got to pay the bills.
Well, you were a comedian.
Yeah, but
Oh right, I thought I just.
But so you've done this, like someone offers you a gig in an outdoor terrace of a cafe for 62 old ladies.
Yeah.
And you go, I can't do that. And they go, it's 200 quid. All right, I'll go.
Yeah, of course you will.
So I'm loath to criticize. It's just that martial arts, like everything, is many things to different people. So
of course it is. No, I'm not expecting you to criticize it. I'm just saying that there's a difference with what we do and what they do.
Yeah, and I've tried to make a peace of it. Scott Langley's my friend, colleague.
Yeah.
He constantly says to me, he goes, don't worry. He goes, most people don't think. Most 99% of people in the martial arts don't think about it as much as we do.
No, they don't. No, you're right. I think
so we're mad. We're mad. It's a hobby for lots of people.
Well, Jane, my partner, tells me I'm on the spectrum.
Yeah, well, you are definitely. So am I.
And I'm quite proud of that because, but it's karate that give me that focus, I think, and I think that's the same for you, isn't it? It's sort of like.
I think all martial arts are pretty much the same, really. I think, but like Muay Thai, if you taught that properly, there'd be no one like in Thailand. People who do they do it as their job, don't they?
It's their livelihood. I mean, that's
really
I actually have two classes. I've got what I call my sort of commercial class, which is still fairly small because I don't do a lot of advertising or any of that. It's fairly small, about 15, 16 guys, unless it's the university, in which case about 80 of them because they're all on site. But I have a fighters class, and we train specifically like the trainer. And obviously, we get about 5 or 6 guys. That's it. But they have the same passion that I have for it, and I love coaching in those classes because it is different.
People keep you going. You know, I think Scott always says that his students are his family and his bread and butter and his friends.
Absolutely, yeah.
And his high Dan grades are his passion.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
I would agree with that. And I would never say there's anything wrong with opening up a club and making money. I know lots of people who do it, and they're very successful. And they make a lot more money. They're driving better cars than I'm driving. You know what I mean?
In my local village, there's a taekwondo guy, and he's got Porsche or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, I get refugees because I've got a village karate club to pay as you go.
Yeah.
No membership fee. And but I get a lot of refugees from Islam, and he's charging £35 a month for a kids class.
Yeah, yeah.
And you get a free suit for 70 quid to join.
Oh yeah, I know. I've seen it's the packages.
They don't know anything. They turn up, and I said, "What belt are you?" They go, "Oh, I'm an orange and yellow belt." Oh, okay. There's taekwondo. I said, "What forms do you know?" What do you mean? They don't know anything.
Well,
anyway,
having said that, I did actually say this to the new Shotokan guy at Birmingham a few years ago. I said, so I've not noticed you doing any forms, any kata. Oh, we don't do kata. I said, what, in Shotokan Karate? He said, yeah. What do you mean? I said, forms, like Heian Nidan, Heian Sandan, Heian Shodan. He said, we don't bother them things. I was like, is that Shotokan? No, that's not karate to me. You have to have forms and kumite. It's
but it's the Wild West now. There's no rule. I mean, it's funny because I go to Japan a lot, and last couple of visits I went to Keio University, and that's where Funakoshi taught.
Yeah, that's right.
They're not JKA. They're sort of separate line Shotokan.
Yeah.
Which I found really interesting because they did Seonshin, they did Sanshin, they did Tensho.
Oh, okay.
Really, really interesting. Yeah, and then this year, February, I trained at the Waseda University, where Ashima went. And,
right.
Yeah, and they were all amateur. They are very much so much smaller.
Yeah.
Nowhere near the level of JKS are much better because that's all they do.
Right.
But these are probably better word gentlemen. Like KO is the Oxford and Cambridge of Japan.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Say this one of the, and they're all the senseis, like the doctors, lawyers, professional people, and all the students. They do courses. So if you go to Takashoka University, you do 4 years of karate. All you do is karate. You sit your exam and you write down on your paper. I'm very sorry. I'm a member of the karate team. And no, I'm not joking.
Oh, seriously, that's actually what.
Yeah, Tokyo and Takashoka University. When they say they always get a degree in imports and exports. You must see this all business.
Okay.
They are recruited by the university.
Yeah.
And they basically do karate all the time, or Shiai tournament karate. Well, they are. I mean, the Enoeda, Asai. All them people came to do that. Since Kanazawa.
So, yeah, I know Enoeda because you train with. I mean, I've trained with Enoeda as well. But I'm just thinking. You were training obviously in Liverpool. I'm just backtracking a little bit.
So I trained in Liverpool and went to university in Manchester.
Yeah.
I did philosophy at Manchester because of Kung Fu. Philosophy and comparative religion.
Is that what your degree was?
Yeah, I've got a degree in philosophy and comparative religion.
That's almost as bad as mine. I did drama and theatre arts.
What I ended up doing was not much philosophy and comparative religion because I discovered the drama club. So I did drama. That's why the love of comedy came.
Right. Okay.
The university club there was Gary Hartford, and so I only did that once a week because I was too busy training.
Yeah, doing your degree. Yeah.
I'll just tell that. And then after I left university, I wanted to be a comedian. I was a bit lost, did a bit of traveling. Went to the States and I did American freestyle karate there, which is quite fun.
Was that PKA?
No, it was. Well, I didn't know. I don't know what it was. It was very confusing.
Okay.
It was a blue. I mean, Steve Mad Dog Curran. I loved it. That was a dojo. So I walk in and they gave me this blue dogi, put all the pads on. And we did this semi-contact sparring.
Yeah.
You know, and I just done like only ever done Shotokan sparring. So I thought, well, these are good. Never learned these before. So I kicked this guy, Mayageri, and he fell down. And he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, we've got these pads on, it's semi-contact, you know."
Yeah.
And they, "Oh, no, 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 no." But the sparring was, I really enjoyed it. I mean, then they completely destroyed me on their rules.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Fast. I remember, Texas backfist was this.
Right. Texas back fist. Is
Texas
that what it's
backfist,
called? I've never heard of that.
California ridge hand.
Oh,
But you like,
I'm putting these in the syllabus now.
yeah, California ridge hand, Texas backfist. I can't remember the rest, but they all had names like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it was great fun. And also you do, I've never done this before, you did like 20 minutes of sparring.
All
Yeah,
right.
with the gear on. And it's
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, I went from thinking, I'll show them all with my very stiff Shotokan, you know, which fine,
Yeah.
get Mayageri, but I mean, yeah. So that was a really good, you know. And they had a picture of Bruce Lee on the wall of the studio.
Ah, okay.
So that
What
was
were you doing?
interesting.
What were you doing in the US? Was that
Well,
working?
I was working with kids. So
Ah, okay.
I was at the University of Puget Sound, uh,
Right.
doing sort of we're working in the creche kind of childminded really.
Oh, okay.
I've always wanted to go to America.
Yeah, yeah. And that was
Yeah,
an
I mean,
opportunity.
Japan was the dream. I was trying to get to Japan. I just couldn't get there. I nearly went to Taiwan to teach English, but anyway, I went there. So then I came back, and then I got a job in a Wimpy bar in Liverpool for 3 months. Lived with my mum and dad, and saved up all my money and went to London. And then I joined Enoeda Sensei's dojo, and
And
that was
that's when
the
he went to Marshall Street.
yeah, and that was the next chapter of my shot. And I was there for a long, long time. Yeah, I was there
And
till
that
Enoeda
is
Sensei
that.
died.
So you're in London, obviously Marshall Street, training with Enoeda,
Yeah,
which must have
and
been.
Ota, it was great training because Ota Sensei most days. Ota taught really nice technical Shotokan, and then Enoeda Sensei came like once a month and just did 1 hour non-stop, bang, 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 wonderful karate.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I've
that's
done
when it started.
courses with Enoeda, and it was like just demanding.
Yeah,
It's like
he
demanding.
brought out the best in you. He brought, you know, he had a couple of moments where he brought out the best in you, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
and you know, then they also you could train lunch times, which
Oh,
really
okay.
there was the only place that I knew. When I became a comedian, it was perfect because I could teach Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I could train lunch times.
So how did the comedy come about? Obviously, you've done a drama degree. You're interested in performance. You're in
At
London.
university, no, it was university started. At
Oh,
university, Alexi Sale and Ben Elton had been there the year before. And
right. Okay. I urinated on his feet once, you know.
yeah, I met Ben Elton and he was very nice, very, very nice.
Yeah, I weed on his feet in a toilet somewhere in a
Oh,
gig. I can't remember the gig he was on as well. And Phil Jupitus was the compare.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I went in. I was in my black stuff, and I went in for a piss. And I thought he was going to attack. I thought it was somebody attacking me, and I turned around like that, and
Yeah.
I pissed on his feet. I went, "Oh, sorry, mate," and he went, "Oh, fucking hell,"
Yeah.
you know, he was. And I went, "Sorry, mate." And he goes, you're one of the acts." I went, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah." He said, "Oh, I'm Ben." Like, I went, "Oh, nice to meet you." And I thought, "Oh, yeah, I know."
I'm Ben. Like,
So that's my claim to fame, you know.
no, but, so, I mean, that was my other passion. I mean, you know, I think the other thing is probably you know this. I know quite a few people who are fantastic at martial arts, but they're a bit dull.
Oh,
You know, all they can talk about is like, you know, is that, you know. So I always
yeah,
had another. I mean, I still when I was doing at university in London, I was still training,
yeah,
but I still had this other inch. You know, I was still had like a laser beam to do comedy. Really. So
mm,
I did comedy, but then I was doing really well in comedy,
yeah.
and then in 88, 89, I went to Japan to train.
Right. Okay.
So that was
So
my
you're
other.
saying you were doing well in comedy. Hang on a minute. You won. What was it again?
No, this is
Time
before I
Out
did.
Comedy. Oh, when did you win? Because you won the
This is
Time Out
before
Comedy Award.
98.
Nominee for the Perrier. Oh,
Yeah,
so,
this was after I came back from Japan. So
was that
basically,
afterwards? Was
yeah, so
afterwards?
I was loving comedy, but I had unfinished business in my
Right.
mind.
You had
I'd
to get out of
always,
your system.
I'd always wanted to go to Japan. So you've been
Yeah.
to Thailand, you know, it's like a pilgrimage. So it's like I had to do it, and I
Yeah.
was making a bit of money in comedy, and then I decided I'm going to go to Japan. So I do a TEFL course in international.
Oh yeah, that route.
I did that, which is great, and
Yeah, of course.
then I applied for a job in the guard, and I got it. like
Right?
that. It's like, you know, things. It's like
Just
it's
everything
like
come together.
I just decided to do. I mean, I went to London to be a comedian, and I became one. Then you know, decided to go, and then I went. So then I went to a year in Japan again, which was just exactly what I wanted to do. And when I was in Japan, I realized I wanted to do comedy. So I came back, and that's when I got much more successful as a comedian.
Yeah, so that's when you started working the circuit more, which would have
Yeah,
been what, 90?
1991, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because
Being,
we must have
by
met.
91, things started happening for me, and I was doing well and really
So I
enjoying it.
think that's when we must have met around that period then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I was top of the bill,
Yeah, yeah. Top of the bill.
top of the bill, top
Hey,
of the
the
nine.
only reason we were ever top of the bill was because no one wanted to go on stage after we'd been on.
Well, yeah, too much crap on stage.
Well, Joe Brand once said, "I'm not going on after you guys. It's like the Battle of the Somme on the
Yeah,
stage.
yeah. Well, there'd be melon and all sorts of stuff on
Melon,
there.
blood, beer. Yeah, it
Bloke's
was a
eye.
good. It was a good way to get top of the bill, though.
Yeah. No,
So
so go on. Yeah,
yeah, obviously your time in Japan, that first time in Japan, how long were you there for?
yeah,
A
yeah.
year. That's pretty intense then. So a lot of karate.
Hard. Yeah, it was very hard. Hard. I got injured, a knee injury. Yeah, but it was one of the best things I've ever done.
Yeah.
You
Did
know,
you have anything to do with the Buddhism when you were out there, the philosophy side of things, or was it just purely focused on the karate?
a lot of it was just working. The biggest disappointment was having a job.
Ah,
So
yeah,
I'd gone from being a ne'er-do-well comedian, chancer, being a bit skint, cycling around London, you know, getting by, to
yeah,
having a full-time teaching job.
yeah.
And the boss hated me doing karate. So
Oh,
everything came hard. So you know, it involved getting up early, getting on trains, blah blah
yeah,
blah blah. So it was very hard. And I did find a Zazen group, but literally it would involve getting up at 5 in the morning,
yeah.
jumping on a train, going through Tokyo. And yeah, I mean, I felt like a failure a lot of the time there
Oh,
because
right.
because I failed to do all. I couldn't train every day. That was the plan. You
Yeah.
know, all the things I planned. But looking back on it, I did a hell of a lot. You know,
Mm.
and I mean, I remember seeing it. I saw Andy Hoog do K1 fighting over there. I went to
Right.
sumo. I went to the Budokan. I saw amazing demonstrations. I entered
Yeah.
a competition, got a silver medal in a competition. You
Yeah.
know, so it's the only medal I've kept really. I never won many medals, but you know, so it's to fight in Japan was great. And looking back on it, I did really well. But at the
Mm.
time, I felt as though I didn't do it seriously enough.
Yeah, but I guess, if you're holding a job down at the same time, and I guess that would have been pretty intense and the traveling and
The job, the boss paid the flight. So you know, I lived in a company flat on a
right.
company, you know, and you know, it was just, I think it was a cultural misunderstanding. I thought I could live like I did in London, but I was in Tokyo,
Mm.
you
The
know.
Japanese have got a different work ethic, haven't they?
Yeah, he said to me, why don't English people like working hard? And I
Yeah.
thought, I'm working hard.
Yeah, I am, but I want to do karate as well.
Yeah, and he goes, why did you karate? I went to work once. I with a black eye, and that didn't go well.
Or did they not like that?
Not at all. No, because also what I realizing is karate is not a gentleman's art. Judo and kendo are the
Yeah,
Japan. And
yeah,
you know, the Japanese with chimpura, it's slightly punk, it's slightly like thuggy.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it was a bit like, why did like literally, what do you want to do karate for? It's changed now because it's much more of a sport now.
Yeah, so it's sort of more accepted, like.
Yeah, and you know, and also you did beat you up in the dojo as well.
Yeah.
You know, that was
Oh
pretty
yeah, I mean,
standard because you're gaijin, you know, and
yeah, of
but then
course, foreigner. Yeah, as soon as you gaijin, that's it.
it was interesting because also they were scared of us because you know I was bigger than all of them, which was a blessing in disguise. Well, not a double-edged sword because I
Well,
was bigger than all of them.
well,
You
this is
know,
what Gary Spears said to me. Remember Gary Spears and
well,
yeah,
he was probably nowhere near his level. Yeah,
Gary used to. He said to me a few times. He goes, "Well, of course, when I first went, and I was training with Yamaguchi, he said
yeah,
they were all terrified of me and Steve because we were just bigger than them,
yeah,
and Steve Morris was mad as a fish in a hat. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
And I remember talking to Steve a few years ago. Now I've lost contact with him, but Yeah, he said they were terrified of the gaijin, so they would try and make an example of you.
Yeah. Well, also like one time, because what I realised was that the people are people.
Yeah.
Like I was knee down, I think, at the time, and I was bigger than all of them. So your average karate guy, I was as good as them, or slightly better, so I could kick them in the head.
Yeah.
But then as soon as I did that, the high up guys would clock me, and they'd just wipe me out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which again was good, because I thought, wow, then at least
it's another level, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
I mean that's what I wanted. I want to, you've got to train with people better than going back.
Would you say that's what? I mean, are you still? I mean, you're still passionate about karate and and life generally. But do you try to inculcate these ideas into your student? This feeling, this passion, and this way of life.
Yeah, Shugyo. Every one of my classes is always demanding. I was going to say, no one gets beaten up, but you will do hard like aerobic training.
Yeah.
Or like every now and again I say, right, we're going to do 100 squats, and often I say we're going to do 100 squats, 100 sit-ups, or 100 press-ups. If you want to do 100 squats, go there. 100 press-ups here.
Yeah.
So see all the people go for press-ups. I go, right, you're doing 100 squats, you're doing 100.
Yeah.
You do things you're not good at. So some people who sort of backhanded compliments go, I do hard, sweaty karate. So there's sometimes people who I've had people being offended at my karate because they're injured or they're old, and they're always younger than me. And they go, I can't do it. And I go, well, look, I never ask you to do anything I can't do, and I'll do it with you. So the other day, I think we did 50 press-ups in the class, and thought nearly no one could do them.
Yeah.
And I try, and I sort of say, well, if you're a black belt, I think you should be able to do press-ups.
Yeah.
So I think that's, my thing, Karate Do. Agemi, I like Agemi Sensei. He was Shotokan guy. And Rick Jackson, who I trained with now, Jackson Sensei was brilliant. He trained with Agemi. And he said he met Agemi, and he said he was like toxic. He was like, he'd look at you and you'd feel sick. But he was one of them guys. He was brilliant. If you ever put pictures of him, he looks amazing.
Yeah.
He's the old. Steve Cattle said to me, the only person who could do Shotokai was Agemi. Everyone else was crap.
Cattle said that. Yeah.
Yeah, Steve said that. I trained with Steve in Liverpool as well, by the way.
Yeah, he was such a loss. He was when he died.
He was the first person who made me think. Who made me realize I could go to Japan.
Yeah.
So
Stumpy.
Yeah, I was at a crossroads because I was going to go to London to be a comedian. I was training with Steve. It's just after my dad had died, and I was very sort of lost. Steve sort of took me to the wing, only for a short, about 3 months.
Yeah.
I used to go follow Steve around, he'd give me a lift and stuff. And he just said, he said to me, oh, stay here, open a dojo, And I said, no, I want to go to London. And then he said, well, you could always go to Japan, because he went to Japan loads
of course he did, yeah.
He told me all these stories. So he was a big influence. And also his lessons were always physically demanding.
Yeah.
A Kirk day, he'd often start off 50 press-ups, 50 squats, 50 sit-ups, just as a warm. And that's gone from a lot of karate now. That's why I like Goju. I still do. I haven't done Goju for a while now, but I did Goju a few years ago, 2 years in the club, and there were 3 of us there. 3 blokes. And like a couple of people would come and they'd always leave.
Yeah.
And then I very disappointingly, 2 I always used to take people I know from the organisation, come and train the Goju. Like they all second dan, second and the third dan, and like the third dan gave up. Like because he was, we did 100 burpees or something, like one of those things, like typical Goju stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I can't do this. I feel sick." And I said, "Get back here," And all like the 2 of the Goju are lovely. They're just like, "Oh, Shotokan rubbish," and I'm going, "Oh, Shotokan." I've always liked that sort of Goju's always appealed to me. There's no nonsense,
Absolutely. I mean, I loved Weichi-Ryu, and Weichi-Ryu, and of course Weichi led me into Goju. A Higiana.
Yeah. Oh well, Harry Benfield was the guy in Liverpool.
Right, I recognise that name.
Weichi-Ryu, and again, because I was terribly shy. I was 16, and the Weichi-Ryu is quite near me, and I used to go and watch a couple of times, and I should have just joined. Would have done Weichi-Ryu, and then I trained in YMCA with I've always done Higuana Goju.
Yeah.
Interesting. But when I was in, I've been to Okinawa quite a few times, and in Okinawa, I trained with a guy called Senaha Sensei.
Okay.
Senaha's great, and with the greatest respect, all the Okinawans think Higuana Sensei is amazing, but is go. There's not much.
There's no do. Yeah. So
So
just so people understand what go and do mean. Go on, yeah, it's your podcast. You explain go and do.
Sanshin. So the go-ju sanshin is like this. And there's a category called Tensho. And Tensho should be. But Higuana does Tensho.
Yeah. He does it go. Yeah. So soft, hard and soft. Go and do.
Yeah, I still think he's probably the best karate master. I've been on a couple of courses with him.
He's strong.
I still think he's absolutely brilliant. I'd never say a bad word about it, but I said the observation is that as Jew is quite an important element.
Of course it is, yeah.
So training with Senaha Sensei is sort of very interesting because he's 70 odd, and he's still smooth. No, 75, still moves well.
Yeah.
And all his kata. You know, you see pictures on the wall of his dojo, and he's ripped with a big chi and stuff.
Yeah, the good old chi, a strength stone.
Yeah, I've got one of them back there. But now,
of course you have. Of course you have.
I'll go. You know, when he does his karate now, it's really nice. You know, so I forgot where we were going. So, yeah, I think what I'm trying to say is that it's all about the training, baby. It's all about training. If you do any martial art, you've got to train.
Yeah.
And you know, I think. Do you remember Joe Lewis?
I do. Yeah, I do remember.
In fighting arts, I've got all of them except 1 and 2. And he had a great interview, and he said he goes he did Shorin-ryu for ages, then took up full contact karate, and he goes, don't ask me what belt I am. I train. I'm in good shape. I wear a black belt, but you're only as good as you are now, and I think that's really important. So I always get very suspicious when I see people with big red and white belts or belts with gold bars on. Often
there's usually the thing is, Simon, what you usually get with those belts is a big belly as well.
Yeah, that's what your chi is.
Yeah, it's like a huge belly, and they're trying to tell you it's chi. No, it's not chi. It's cheese. Too much cheese. You eat too much.
But, going back to Rick Jackson Sensei now, who he's part of HDKI. He's fantastic. He went to Japan in 1975. Played at JKA and trained with Gemi and stuff, and then he did, and he also does the Ido with the live blade.
Don't get me on that. I mean, you were saying how you had this ideal in your head when you were a kid that you wanted to be a kung fu man or whatever. I wanted to be a samurai. I wanted to do Iai-jitsu at Katori Shinto-ryu in Japan. Katori Shinto. So I bought the books and I learned all of the katas of Katori Shinto-ryu. Which is why I can cut melons.
No, I mean, anyway, so, and also he's practiced Zen now for 35 years. So he is, he's a genuine karate master. Not interested in promoting himself at all.
No.
But his classes, the sort of classes I talked about, you need that, like, I think Steve used to call karate oil was sweat, and like you need a little grit in your training.
Yeah, of course.
So when I go and train with Rick Jackson, it's a bit like I've got to go. Okay, I'm going to Rick's today. I get in the car. You literally put your belt on and you go in. There's no laughing or smiling or joking. And Enoeda Sensei though, you didn't go to an Enoeda class and go, how you do? You'd walk in.
No.
And so he's my connection for that, really, that studio training. And his training, first time I trained with him, it's a bit like, he does a lot of, you always stay in your stance, always. He'll talk and you stay in your stance. Now, I'm quite good at that because I've done pressing for such a long time. But, I got a little shake on my leg. And none of his students move, I didn't move. And at the end of it, he goes, I like your energy. And I'm going, your leg's killing me. So he is a big influence on me now because he's not fat, he's in shape, he's 70, he's 10 years older than me exactly.
Right, okay.
Well, he's got loads of injuries and stuff, but he still sits Seizai. We did an hour Seizai, he's just sitting I can't do neither Seizai, I sit cross-legged. But he is very refreshing because he's very, very, very strict, very good, but then very sort of very, very funny as well. So I've got a knee injury, arthritic leg, And he goes, oh, you know that leg, that'll get worse that side. And you'll end up and I go, yeah. And he goes, don't, he goes, oh, I can't kick now because the hip's gone and stuff. So that I find him very refreshing.
Yeah.
But the trick is he's still training.
Well, this is it. I mean, yeah. I mean, my students laugh at me and say, you'll probably drop dead in the gym teaching, wouldn't you? Well, probably, yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Yeah.
Do you find, just as, because we've been over an hour now, believe it or not, and I'll sit here talking all day. Don't you find, just a final thing, being a performer, has that enhanced the way you teach karate or changed it at all?
Yeah. Well, what is all my limitations as a karate person? I'm nowhere near as good as lots of people out there teaching. But because I work in education now, I work with special needs children.
Yeah.
And I've been a performer for most of my adult life. Probably like you, my classes are really fun.
Yeah.
And I'm very confident to talk to people, and I'm good at planning lessons, and I've got 40 odd years of experience. So yeah, I mean, I'm very confident in my karate teaching ability. My teaching ability is far better than my actual ability, because I've just done it for longer than anyone else, and I know how to present something. Because like sometimes with people who are brilliant at karate, but they've got very quiet voice.
Well, this is why I was coming back to it, because you mentioned about half an hour ago about dull teaching. Yeah. And that's why I've come back to that point. It was something I was going to pick up on at the time. And I see it all the time. High graded, qualified instructors stand in front of a large group of people, and you'll sort of put them on the spot and they just fall apart. And whereas I guess if I did it to you, you'd be in your element, because I would be. I know that.
Yeah, we're show-offs.
Yeah, of course we are. Yeah, that's why we did comedy.
I know people, I'm sure you do, who are absolutely brilliant at karate but crap at teaching.
Awful.
Because they go do it like this, and no one can do it. And they these natural people. Oh, I love, I've trained with loads of them, and I go, how do you do that? And they go, oh, you do that.
Yeah.
And, but I mean, if someone wants to learn how to kick, I'll start off with knee lift, foot position, twitching your leg and turning your foot, keeping the whole. I know I can. I'm a coach. Yeah. But he'll go do it like that. Bam. How? I can't.
But if people are having fun, they're going to learn, aren't they? And I know I've succeeded in a class if people are knackered but smiling at the end of it.
My thing, my selling point, I suppose, in the end is happy karate.
Yeah.
I'll do serious karate, but it's happy karate. It's not miserable, it's not po-faced. And I don't, at no stage do I talk about fighting or self-defense or anything like that. I teach Karate Do. This is a vehicle for moving your body and improving yourself. And then when we do kumite, but I take out that, I'm not particularly keen with, especially Shotokan people. I've watched a few Zoom classes recently, and I find it embarrassing. You get someone, they attack like this, and they'll block this and then strike hard, and you've got to punch hard, and then they stop. Yeah. Or they, it's like, there's that terrible convenient fiction. But Shotokan is particularly, in fact, Enoeda Sensei said this to me. He went, oh, Shotokan, Chudan Gaikuzuki, reverse stomach punch. And and there's a school in Japan spelled one hit, one kill.
Yeah.
And that's from sword fighting. You get hit by a sword, you could die. But this terrible fiction, convenient fiction that you strike Chudan Gaikuzuki sword and then you stop and you leave it there. I think a lot of karate people either, have this, punching fresh air nonsense. As a Muay Thai person, that. So that's why Shotokan has such a terrible name. Really.
Yeah. I mean,
what I do is, in my general classes, I always do pad work, always do sparring, but take out any aggression in it and make it fun and physically tough, physically tough. And then maybe for higher grades, only the right people would we ever go anywhere. That places that you need to go, like serious kumite stuff. Probably like your fighters class.
Yeah. So
there's many things to many people.
Yeah, well, this is it. This is the beauty of the martial arts, isn't it? It's many things, so many people.
Like anything, though, it's like,
Yeah.
look, I'm sure there's people who teach. If you're a piano tutor,
Mm.
you get kids coming in and go blinky blinky blinky. See you next
Yeah,
week,
yeah,
and you get someone else coming in. Da, 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 da. So
yeah, yeah,
everything's the same. It's just this is just our bubble. Our bubble.
yeah,
Is, I mean, in fact, I've come out of my bubble now. I'm talking to a non-Shotokan person. But so it's just yeah, it is what you want it to be. There's
yeah.
no absolutes, I'm afraid.
And I
It
think
is.
teaching's teaching, isn't it? I mean, because you obviously teach kids with special needs, but you're still going to have that. It'll still be Simon Bligh doing it. It's just you're teaching a different subject.
Yeah, but this thing, I think, there's the old joke,
Oh, you know a few of them, don't you?
yeah, no, it's that one. It's that those people who can't do teach, something like that. I can't.
Oh, yeah, I know that maxim. Yeah,
I think there's that myth for quite a long time of being the best guy in the dojo or the best guy in the organization doesn't mean you're the best coach.
no.
So I don't know. I'm just trying to think. The world 100-meter champion.
Hmm.
Her coach won't be another 100-meter champion.
Of course not. No.
We've got a guy called Matt Payne Sensei and Martin Lindley doing our group. They're at Loughborough University and they're professors of biomechanics.
Oh,
and
right.
their karate's good. They'd
Yeah.
be good to interview actually. Their karate's very good, but they're not world class karate people. But they're coaching shot putters and sprinters, and they're leading sports scientists at Loughborough University, one of the best in the world.
Well, it's true in Thai boxing. There's a lot of the coaches out in Thailand were never massive champions or anything like that. They'd won a few fights.
Emmanuel Stewart wasn't a boxing champion. He
Yeah.
was a brilliant trainer, wasn't he? Custamato was never.
Custamato, yeah. I mean, it's about having that passion and an eye for the game, really.
And in many
I was
ways,
never a champion in Muay Thai. I had a lot of fights, but I was never a champion. That was not what I was doing it for. I just loved it, and I wanted to get involved in it.
I'm not very good at karate at all. No, I'm not at all. And I was never a champion. Never won a gold medal.
Yeah.
But I am a good coach.
Yeah, that's how I see myself as well.
Yeah. And because go on, yeah.
No, go on.
Well, I think because I care. So when I teach people, I can teach people the principles of karate as I've developed them, and also the karate I do now is a million miles away from what I did in 1975. A lot of people now do 1970s Shotokan still.
Yeah.
And my karate is completely changed, much more relaxed, much more driven by mechanics, much more driven by breath, and it's much more complicated than it used to be.
Yeah.
And it has no dogma. So most karate I see, even now when I go and teach places, I'm a smart ass. Because I'll say to someone, why are you stamping your foot? Oh, it's more powerful. Well, how is it more powerful? Or why are you doing that? Why is your shoulder up? And they look at me like, what do you mean? I'm just doing karate. And I like
the fact you say there's no dogma. You're like a Pyrrhonist karate man. Pyrrho, the Greek philosopher.
Yeah, I mean, it's just if it works, I mean, one of my sort of things I say is every move means something. So in karate, a lot of people sort of do this, and I go, what's happening here?
What is going on there? Yeah,
this, and everything means something, and and I'll often, I mean, I'm not. Bunkai is a tricky one, but I'll often, suggest you could be grabbing someone.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I suppose 1970s karate was making shapes, not hitting anything.
Yeah.
But stamping and moving along. But it's good fun. And it's comforting. I mean, I often miss sometimes banging up and down the dojo, beating the hell out of fresh air.
Yeah.
Feeling great, boosting your ego. And it's a nice feeling. You're full of energy.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, you feel knackered, but and it's really, smart ass when someone like me is going, well, don't just do, don't do that. What's happening
at
here?
that point? Yeah.
And then they go, who the fuck's this guy? And that's, and that's then where sometimes people just like a bit like being a Catholic when I was a kid, just go to mass,
Yeah.
just believe in God. And then I used to question stuff like this in RE. And they think, can't question this, can't. So I think people like absolutes and easy answers. Probably, Muay Thai. Go to Muay Thai, kick the hell out of the bag, do all the moves, do that rings thing at the beginning.
Yeah, the ring thing at the beginning. We're
Yeah.
talking about the Ram Mui, by the way. That's my art.
Yeah. You know me. I'm being flippant, but that's that's a bit like, people often, what do you mean we're going to do it properly? Doing it properly is hard, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, when I talk about the Ram Mui, well, hardly anybody does it now when I go to shows. And it's quite sad because it's part of the art. And
Yes,
then their thing is, well, what's the point? And I go, it's a mindset thing. And I put it in psychological terms. It's a preparation for a battle. It's your dance. It's your war dance. It's a haka. It's exactly what it is. And each movement, even though it's very flowery, it's dance. It's very significant because the way I was taught, what you're doing by doing the Ram Mui beautifully, you're demonstrating to the opponent your balance, your poise, your skill, your patience. You're showing lots of qualities. And it's also psychological. It's taking over the ring. You're making the ring your space. So this is my ring now. And the other thing that the Thais believe, that the spirit of the camp comes into the ring with you.
Yeah.
So there's a whole philosophy behind it. Now, and I say to the guys, well, of course, if you don't believe in a spirit, I don't. But you can imagine if you're thinking about all the training, you put all the backup, all the guys who are here to support you, that's the spirit of the camp. This ethos, which we're talking about, that karate spirit is coming into the ring and it's coming out through you. I remember my teacher, when he gave me the name Priya Pichai, he said, when you do the Ram Mui, Priya Pichai will come into the ring with you. So it won't just be you fighting, there'll be two of you fighting. So you'll fight like two men.
I always do proper lineup, strict lineup, says up, show many round, everything. And I always say that's because we're not doing kickboxing.
Yeah.
This is
exactly.
Japanese martial arts. So I always want the uniform to be tidy. When you tie up your belt,
everything is a ritual.
Yeah, and that gives it a quality to what we do. Because it's like Terry O'Neill says, it's not keep fit in pajamas. It's not Zumba in pajamas.
Yeah.
It's not kickboxing. It's like, we wear white suits and we do all the katas. We do a Japanese Budo.
Yeah.
We can smile and have a laugh. It's not po-face. It's not miserable. It's not violent.
No.
But it's got the discipline. We start right and we always finish right.
Yeah.
And we bow and we do all that.
I think that's something I've taken into Thai boxing. The idea that when you come in the gym, you bow to your partner, you bow at the beginning of the class. We even have a salute at the end, which I've stolen from karate. We finish, we do a kneeling bow, and then we just sit. And you can't throw, like, we wear armbands, which signify rank. They don't go on the floor. They're hung up at head level where the moncon is. Just little things like that are important because people need ritual. And I remember Danny Shiganis, my first karate instructor when I was 10, I folded my gi up and stuffed it in my bag. And he went, come here, you. And I was terrified. And he said, get that out of there.
Yeah, right. I roll my gi up and do it properly. Yeah.
I have to fold it. He taught me, fold it properly, put the belt around it, now put it in your bag. That's how you should have it. And keep it like that.
Yeah, this is Budo,
Yeah, it's Budo.
I've done a bit of kendo. I really like the idea. I don't really like doing kendo because I don't like the helmet and everything. But kendo is like, it's a sword fighting sport with no martial arts application whatsoever.
No.
And it's turned into like the highest of Budo, I think.
Yeah.
When I've done a little bit, you have to put this bloody camera on properly.
Yeah.
Your arm, it's really hard to get right. It's a bamboo sword. You never put it in. It's all got to be. And then you go to Iaido, and it's also that precision.
Oh yeah, that precision.
Zen, isn't it?
It's Zen. It's Zen, absolutely.
Yeah, you talk to Rick Jackson about that, and he talks to Matt Payne, who does it as well. He does this. No, get the bloody sword. and Rick will go, "You're dead."
Yeah.
And I kind of nick that from karate. I try no preparation. So karate, like Zen karate, Zen karate is here and that's it. You know, no wasted movements.
No wasted movement. That's absolutely.
And that's the same for all martial arts, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, no big preparation. I often get people to face each other, and if they move, they go, "You're dead. You're dead." Saw it coming.
You're dead.
Yeah, well,
Look, Simon, we're going to have to finish on that note. On that note, you're dead. I don't know about you. I'd like to do another one.
Well, yeah, we'll see if anyone gets to the end of this one. You want to?
Come on, yeah. I'm sure they will, mate. We've talked about a lot of subjects, and I could have easily just focused on one specific thing, but I mean, it was a case of getting it all off our chests.
Yeah, I think so. We both. Yeah. And you do what you want. I'm more than happy to talk to you, Bob.
Yeah. I do appreciate that, Simon. So I just want to say thanks for taking up your time today. It's been brilliant. It's good just to see you and catch up anyway. And I hope the people listening and watching get as much pleasure out of it as I have. So
I when all this is over, we need to meet up again. And as HDKI GB, I will definitely book you for something.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And just before I finally stop the record button, can you send me some information? Because people are going to ask about some of the names, Enoeda and the different Rick Jackson and the website, your website and the HDKI, just so people can say, "Oh, wow, I'd like to train with him when this is all over. He seems mad," and they can link to you straight away.
The last thing I'll say is that I was never involved in karate politics for many.
No, I know that. I know.
Years, and then a series of when Enoeda Sensei died, and suddenly you had to make decisions, and then a series of events led me being part of HDKI, which is a Scott Langley's group and my group.
Yeah, and it's working well. I've seen it all over Facebook.
Yeah, also because you know what, it's not about the money.
No, I've realised that as well.
Yeah, it's about creating. It's about karate adventures, being kind, and doing good karate. That's our credo.
Okay, before I say goodbye, right? What's your philosophy? Quick, a quick.
My philosophy is keep training. Never use age as an excuse.
Right.
My dojo is called Shogai Dojo, and Shogai in Japanese means training without end. Shogai Budo, training without ends. Everything's a new start. You get your black belt, it's a new start.
Right.
Keep with training without ends, training till I die. That's my philosophy.
Great. And on that note, I'll say goodbye.
Oh, us.
Bye.